Well, aloha kakahiaka, everyone. Good Friday morning. I'm Peter K, and you are part of the Aloha Friday Hawaii Real Estate Show. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We have a big e komomai for you. E komomai is the Hawaiian word for come inside. Welcome. It's typically a welcome a phrase, and it literally means come inside. So here's what we got planned for you today. If you're watching this on a recorded basis, you can click forward. We have chapters in the video. You can move it to any section that you want. We got a couple things going on here. We got our music. We have a great kind of kapila selection for you today. We got some news. Hawaii is number one again, but for what? That's the question. Yes, and we got some updates on the Mauna Loa eruption. The mountain Mauna Loa on the Big Island is erupting. We've got a quick update on that. We've got a great discussion about what's the most important thing about what you're going to find out. And of course, we're going to close with some motivational thoughts and your questions all along the way. For now, let's warm up the microphones over here. And we got our friends are with us. And I'm sure that Ashley's going to be joining us soon. But today we've got with us right now, we've got Heidi Dollinger, who is back from Thanksgiving holiday and she's hailing from Maui, and we have Dylan Nonaka, who is from the Big Island. Heidi, warm up the mic for warm up the. Let's say hello to our early risers too as well, who are with us in the order that they appeared. Mark, Islander Ohana alumni. Mark, welcome. Mark, good to see you, buddy. Glad that you're here. And Auntie Joan Valentine, who is also a alumni of the Islander Ohana. Just saw Auntie Joan a couple days ago. We had this great meetup on the Makapu'u Lighthouse hike. Dwayne is back. Dwayne, how's it, guys? Hey, how's it, Dwayne? Good to see you. Good to see you, buddy. Paul is back. Carl Lucas is from Aloha, from Ventura County, California. And She Who Laughs, I love that name, is with us. Aloha, welcome. All right. Thanks, guys, for coming over. Heidi, give us the update. What's the coffee today? What's the coffee? What's happening? How was the Thanksgiving holiday?
Thanksgiving holiday was awesome. I got to travel to Illinois to visit family, which was great. But I have to say, it is never disappointing to come back to Maui after vacation. It's always a great feeling and good to be back here. So I'm drinking my Maui coffee this morning, and Maui really does have the best coffee. I never truly appreciated coffee until I started drinking Maui coffee. It's kind of a little breezy here today. It's about 74 degrees and overcast, but it's Friday, so happy Aloha Friday, everybody.
And happy Aloha Friday to you, and also to Ashley, who has joined us. Way to go, Ashley! We're glad that you made it. Hey, everybody, Ashley is hailing from Oahu. Welcome, Ashley. We're warming up the microphones. Dylan, well, first of all, Auntie Joan, Joan, you are such an auntie, always there, always welcoming, always willing, always great. So thank you, Joan. Joan is welcoming Heidi back. We missed you, indeed. That is correct. Dylan, warm up the microphone for me. What's the shirt? What's going on? How's it happening?
Well, this is a Manaola. This is a designer out of Oahu. So broke out. My wife asked me this morning, when is the last time you wore that? And I said, I don't know. So it was time to warm it up and bring it back out. So. Yeah, just a beautiful day over here in Kona. We do have some fog. People have been asking about that. The first kind of week, and I guess we'll talk more about the volcano. There really wasn't any fog, but it's starting to set in, and we're seeing it. So the clear skies are paused at the moment, but it makes for beautiful sunsets. The colors that you see are just different than normal times, and so there's always a positive, right? There's always a silver lining. So. Sunsets are always beautiful, but fog doesn't necessarily ruin them; just changes them. So
there's always a silver lining, Dylan. And if anyone's going to find it, it's you. You're like that. That great story about the pile of horse manure. You guys ever hear that one? Right? There's this pile of horse manure, and there's this little boy, and he's digging through this pile of horse manure, just digging all the way through it, getting his hands dirty and whatever. And someone walks up and says, what are you doing? And he goes, hey man, with so much horse manure, there's got to be a pony in here somewhere. And then that's you, Dylan. You're always finding the pony, no matter what is, and God bless. Hey, Ashley, welcome. Is that a Christmas shirt? What's going on, Ashley? Warm up the microphones for us.
Yeah, it's chilly outside. It's nice and overcast and extra windy, and I got my Christmas gear on because we get like a couple weeks out of the year. But I will say, Dylan's right. These sunsets and these sunrises. So there was the full moon 2 days ago, and in Lanikai on Oahu, they just have the most magnificent moonrise that comes out over the horizon, and the sunrise as well. And oh my gosh, just the colors have been phenomenal, just lighting up the whole sky with pinks and blues. So I just like was taking video this morning, just enamored while I was getting my daughter ready. Just God, it's so beautiful.
Well said. I saw actually, now that you mention it, the other day, we the other a couple 1 or 2 days ago in the early morning, I got up and the sun, the sky was absolutely pink. I rarely see a pink sunrise, but this thing was pink. And as I was lying in bed, just looking out my window over the mountains over there, I thought, I should take a picture of this. And then I said, nah, 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 not gonna. It's too darn early. I'm not gonna pull the.
Well, I'm a millennial, so I document everything.
Uh,
I go pretty get-go. Let's take a video of it.
It's going to be interesting to see in historical terms, how historians will look back on this gigantic bump of documented historical elements and facts. Anyway, hey, we have Aloha Supernova is in the house, NYC in the house. Hey, Aloha Supernova, welcome. We are glad that you are with us. And Judy is here again. Welcome, Judy. So glad that you are back. It really makes a big difference to all of us. Judy is also an alumni of the Honor Ohana. And Uncle Jim, there he is. There he is. Jim, I was going to send out a search party. If you weren't going to give us a pulse over there. So glad that you are with us, Jim. All right. Let's move on, gang. So let's wind this up. So we have our Kanakapila special here. So Kanakapila, everybody, is a Hawaiian term that is used to talk about sort of a jam session, a musical jam session. Whenever you have like local parties and local Hawaiian kind of get-togethers, you kind of do Kanakapila. People pull out the ukuleles and they start singing and dancing. That's Kanakapila. So I asked earlier, I wanted to get some sort of sense from Heidi and Dylan and Ashley as far as, hey, give me what your best. And Dylan came back with Kolea, which kind of really brought me back. Dylan, tell me about Kolea. Why was it like on the top of your list of your favorites?
Really, I'm a fan of country music, right? And one of the cool things about Hawaiian music, even to this day, but definitely older Hawaiian music, is there was a lot of country covers. And Kolea has two of my favorites, Everything That Glitters Isn't Gold and Love 10 Feet Away. And those were, covers of kind of classic country songs, or not even classic, maybe country songs from like the 70s, but with a, Hawaiian twist on them. And they have tons of great music, but those are just two of my favorite kind of classic Hawaiian songs of all time. But they're actually country songs, they're not Hawaiian songs. But they changed the words. So like, they use like a cafe out in Hilo. Like they changed the words so it sort of applies to Hawaii. So yeah, it's just a great classic band. They're not super famous, I don't think. I don't know if they're a top of mind band that comes to mind about like really famous Hawaiian bands, but they're still around. So
they're still around, and you're right. They're not a top of mind band, but they're still around. And all that glitters isn't gold is a classic Hawaiian local song. So, gang, okay, get your Alexas and your Siri's ready because we're gonna get some music going over here to kind of put everybody in the right mood. So here we go. So Alexa, play music from Kolea. Hey Siri, play Kolea on Pandora. Okay, Google, play music from Kolea. All right, and that should get us all going over there. And hey, Ashley, we got Jim. Jim asked about. See, Jim, you missed out on the fun. Man, is Ashley wearing a ski sweater? No, she's wearing an ugly Christmas sweater. I don't want to say ugly. It's not ugly.
It's cute.
Yeah, it's very cute. It's
it's Christmas dress. So.
Oh wow! Okay, well we're getting a little QVC going on over here. That by the way, folks, That is available for $49.95. Go to the website livinginhawaii.com where you can get Ashley's modeled Christmas dress for your very own, available in all sizes. So there you go. So Jim, there you go, man. You got a little show as well. Norm is back. Hey, Norm, welcome. Aloha to all. Norm is also an alumni of the Honor Ohana, and great to have you with us, Norm. All right, gang. Let's glad that you're all here for this. See, Jim says it's beautiful. There you go. See, Jim, nice. I think it's a great. I love Christmas sweaters, Christmas dresses, and it's funny, Ashley, but you're right. It's kind of It's not that blustery, classic, local kind of winter season that we're going into, right? It's wet, it's windy. You wake up some mornings and you kind of want to have a coffee and kind of stay. I'm wearing my sweatpants and long sleeve t-shirt, and it's that kind of weather. All right, let's get some news. Go ahead, Ashley. Did you have a comment that you want to say? Or, no. Okay.
No.
All right. Okay. Let's move on. Let's get the news over here. So, hey, I want to give a quick update. Dylan's going to go into detail here because I'm going to hold this off until later on the Mauna Loa. Mauna Loa is erupting. Things are kind of moving on. We're going to kind of wait for this in a moment. We're going to do this last actually in the news. December 7th, December 7th is still a really big deal. I mean, it's a really big deal everywhere, but it's still a really big deal here on Oahu, certainly in Pearl Harbor. Thousands were here. There was one really interesting quote that I extracted that I want you all to kind of, think about. So they have the few remaining survivors of Pearl Harbor, of course, attend in honor. And one quote really stuck out to me from Jack Holder, who was 19 at the time. So just think about that to start with, being 19 years old and being bombed, having Japanese planes dropping bombs and shooting people and all that kind of stuff. And he says, "You cannot believe the horror that went through what I've seen. I've seen the Arizona sinking." I'm getting chicken skin just bringing this out. Chicken skin is a Hawaiian slang for goosebumps. "You cannot believe the horror that went through what I've seen. I've seen the Arizona sinking, listing at 45 degrees, and the Nevada, the West Virginia, the Tennessee, and the California, all sinking or were damaged." That just really stuck out to me. I just couldn't believe being 19 years old and having to see through that. So thank you, Jack, for what you did. And we remember all those who have fallen on December 7th, a day which does live in infamy. All right. Oahu sales, there's a story here. Ashley, I kind of want to hear from you on this when we get to your segment. There's a story that the Oahu sales plunge is the word that they use. Sales of single family homes nosedive 48% in November to 192 from 371 in the previous year. So Ashley, I'd like to hear you expand on that some more. And Heidi, I pulled a story for you here about Maui. Has Maui lost its no ka'oi status? So no ka'oi is Maui no ka'oi is a classic line that you hear, which means Maui is best. Fodors, F-O-D-O-R-S, Fodors, I hope I pronounced that right. They pulled Maui off of their list of places to visit. In fact, it's their list of places to not visit next year, citing the water crisis. So Heidi, don't know if you've got any input on that. And then finally, yes, we're number one. This time in the highest gas prices. Hawaii is the only place, according to the article, according to AAA Hawaii said the average regular unleaded gas price for Hawaii is $5.19. So we are the only state apparently left in the country where gas is over $5. What about you? Do you have gas over $5 where you live? That is the thing. All right, let's do this. I want to kind of save the volcano update. I got a bunch of news I'm going to share, but Dylan, you have the honor. You're not quite volcano man, but you're certainly the guy that's been living on the island. Give us the update. I guess, Dylan, anything you want to share about the Big Island and specifically about the volcano? I'd really like to take away from you, if you could share, what's the vibe like? What does it feel like? So give us the update, and I really want to hear what is the vibe like on the Big Island right now.
I hate to break it to everybody, but the vibe is the same as always is. Nobody cares. So nothing's really changed. I think the short story is, the first week, there's a lot of uncertainty. There was a lot of speculation. There was a lot of just reaction to what was going on. And the reality is, it's like kind of slowed down. It's creeping along. It's doesn't look like it's going to cross Saddle Road right now, given their best estimates. And so life just goes on. I mean, really, there was very little change in. The biggest impact is the traffic on Saddle Road to go and look at it. So there's thousands of people still going up there every day to look at it. And after going up there, it was a crazy experience just thinking about it. We talked about this on our special show, right? Like when lava normally flowed on the Big Island, it was kind of hard to get to. You had to go by helicopter, you had to go by boat, or you had to hike in, considerable ways across the lava to get and actually see flowing lava because it wasn't really accessible. But with this one, you can just drive in your air conditioning with snacks in your car with a cooler and just pull over on the side of the road and see. You can see the fountain shooting up, at the top of the summit, and you can see the lava river coming down the mountain. It's an amazing sight, and I'm really glad to report that our government didn't overreact and be stupid about this, because that's what I was concerned about. Was I went immediately after it started because I was worried they're just going to shut the road down and not let people go up. And instead, they've kind of embraced it, and they brought the National Guard in. I haven't gone up since this is all set up, but I was just talking to a client yesterday that did, and she just said it was so organized, so well put together. There's traffic control. The National Guard soldiers are directing people. There's a parking area, a viewing area, things like that. So they really set it up to embrace what it is and give people the opportunity in a safe and organized manner to go and see the volcano. So that's that's the real good news, is how we've kind of handled it, and just the experience of our kids being able to go and see this. It's amazing. It's truly a once in a lifetime opportunity. So it's cool.
Yeah, thanks, Dylan. That's a great update. That's and we have to give credit where credit is due, because government usually kind of messes up more than it kind of fixes things, right? Usually breaks things with it. So when they do it right, you got to give them credit, and that is great. Look, it's a huge attraction. It's like the best, like you had mentioned. By the way, gang, if you haven't seen this, go back on the Living in Hawaii YouTube channel. We had a great special. We went into great detail. We had Mick and his daughter Ivory, who is Ivory is an associate, works for Dylan, works in Dylan's brokerage on the Big Island, and it was just great input, great insights, etc. And I got some terrific, phenomenal footage from the U.S. Geological Survey that's playing right now. So Dylan, yeah, thanks for that update. I mean, it's a huge tourist attraction right now. If you could get to the Big Island, man, it is like the place to be. You kind of want to see where that's at.
Actually, had some friends. I had some friends that flew in. We did a conference here last Friday, a real estate conference, and I had some friends flying from San Diego, and I picked them up Wednesday night, and before that morning, I texted them and said, "Yeah, are you guys cool? We're just going straight to the volcano when I pick you up." And they said, "Of course," right? So talk about winning the lottery. Like, they were coming here anyways, but they got picked up from the airport and we went straight up to go view the lava, and just the timing of it, right? I mean, if you got to plan a trip to come out special, because this thing could stop at any time. I mean, it could go on for 20 years. It could stop at any time, right? So you don't know, but having the opportunity and having it work out like that was super cool. Being able to take them to experience that.
Totally cool. I think one of the things on the factual news updates, wanted to give everybody, I think one of the big issues was that everyone was concerned that the Saddle Road was going to get cut off with lava flows. That looks less and less to be the case. In fact, they're saying it's likely that the Saddle Road will not be cut off. So we had a couple people. One of our Ohana questions on the special show was, what day will the road be cut off, if at all? So a bunch of you said it's not going to get cut off. Those of you that said that are probably correct. Others had guessed a couple of days. So that's a quick update. The flows have subsided. No, not subsided. They have slowed down. They're still coming, but they're significantly less than they were. It is still flowing, though. It is still erupting, and there are still tremors. So tremors indicate more lava flow. That lava flows will continue. So we still got tremors. Flow is down. Road's okay. That's the quick update. Hey, gang, look, I've got a bunch of slides.
I got a homework assignment for the viewers.
Oh,
okay, so
let's hear it.
One of the coolest pictures that we've seen in this flow is that if you've seen the pictures of the lava fountains, and then in the background the snow on Mauna Kea, right? So there's lava on one mountain and there's snow on another mountain, and there's a Hawaiian legend behind that. And so go look it up. It's Poliahu and Pele, but it's a super cool story about the Hawaiian goddesses of snow and fire. So.
Poliahu and Pele. That is a great Hawaiian legend, and it's a really good point that you bring up, that Dylan. This would be interesting. Kind of, where is there any place? Okay, here's a trivia question, gang. Just like right off the top of my head, can anyone Google this? All right, is there any place else on Earth where you have fire and ice in the same proximity? There probably is. There are probably some volcanic places in Iceland or something like that. So there's got to be. But regardless, fire and ice, how cool is that, right? Let's get that video going here. How cool fire and ice within very, very close proximity. That is a super cool thing, and what makes Hawaii so incredibly amazing. Okay, hey, great update, gang. Look, I got a bunch of slides that I'm not going to go through, but I got some questions. I got some answers to potential questions. So if you've got a question about the volcano, about Mauna Loa, the Big Island, pop it in. We'd love to kind of hear from you. All right, Dylan, you want to give us a quick update market-wise? What's going on with the market, and then we'll do our normal sort of market updates. What do you got?
Yeah, pretty dramatic after this last month. So if we look at, I got the data pulled up here so I can tell you exactly. But if you look at last month's number of closed sales for on the island, it was 329 versus the height back in March where it was 716. So we're looking at like a 50% drop in terms of the number of closed properties in. And it was pretty high. It was in the 600s, the high 600s for the first kind of 6 months of the year. And last month it was 411, and then we went even lower to 329 this month. So huge reduction in the the activity in terms of sales volume. But if we look across the board year to date, we're not seeing a drop in prices, right? And that's what everybody's kind of more concerned about. And across the board, for the home market, we're still up 5% year to date on median price. On the condo market, we're up 18% year to date on the median price. And then the land market, we're up 12%. So prices are holding. That's obviously going to change. If there's going to be a change, we'll see it over the next few months as things even out. But big reduction in activity. We're almost to 2,000 listings, which we haven't cracked that 2,000 mark in a while. So we just got above that. And then the number of properties under contract continues to fall. So it was down to like 660 this past month. So the market activity is definitely evening out, but still at like 3.5 months of supply. So it's not like there's, until we get back to 6 months of supply, we're not at a balanced market. We're still technically in a seller's market, although a lot of the market conditions does feel like a buyer's market right now.
Interesting. So things are shifting. Quick summary from my own brain, from my own simple thinking brain. Market volumes are down, prices remain, and you still kind of short on inventory in terms of historical issues. Hey, let me catch up on some comments that popped in before we go to Heidi and then to Ashley to get the update on the market. We had a couple of folks that had commented, and I want to realize that while we're going to continue to play let me see if I could do this. I guess we'll have to do it this way. Okay. So aloha from snowy Idaho. On a serious note, we must never forget Pearl Harbor. Yes, Barbara, that's exactly right. Thank you. I appreciate you mentioning that. We must never forget. Indeed. Janice Medley is with us, finally on the same time zone. Glad I can join in. Janice is an alumni of the Island of Ohana and is hanging out on Oahu. So Janice, great to have you with us. We're actually doing, I'm really glad that you are here with us, and glad you were able to make it. And hopefully we'll get to get a chance to see you face to face while you're here. Jim says, "Ha'ole la hanau" to my daughter today. Well, Jim, that is a happy birthday to your daughter today, and we celebrate her birth. And Norm says, here in the San Francisco Bay Area, there are some stations over $5, but in general, about $4.50. See, Jim, it's Norm, it's bad when Hawaii is more expensive than San Francisco. That's when that's when that we're in trouble. Auntie Joyce had a hard time joining in. Well, glad that you're here, Auntie Joyce. I hope you're still with us. Dylan won the pool. Yes, he did win the pool. Thank you, Judy. You are correct. So in the special show yesterday, let me put the volcano here because it's so. Well, no, I don't want to hide Ashley's face, or we can't. Let's see if we can do it this way. Okay, there we go. So yes, Dylan won the pool. So at the special show that we had on the volcano, I asked the fantasy question was, when will the road cross over? And Dylan said it's not going to cross over. So Dylan, you are correct. You won so far. You won the poll. And Auntie Joyce is here, which is great. Jason, also an alumni, says coolest photos, Dylan. That is some amazing photography, right? It's crazy. And actually, I've got a photo. I'll pop it up later. Dylan and his son, which is an amazing picture. Bill correctly pointed out Iceland, as did Auntie Joyce, that Iceland also has fire and ice. So thanks, gang, for the correction. Paul says, Does the worst house on the block strategy actually work? Does it work better for certain types of houses or neighborhood? Okay, that's a great real estate question. We're going to hold on to that, and we're going to answer that one interactively with everybody else. So hold on to that, gang. We're going to come back to it. And Dylan, do you anticipate prices going down in the next few months? Before we move on, Dylan, you want to give a quick answer to Norm's question?
No.
No, I know you want to give an answer, but what's the answer? No, just kidding. No. What's your answer, Dylan?
It doesn't feel that way. I mean, if property is priced properly at the market value, which is pretty stable, stuff is selling. We're still seeing multiple offers. And we've talked about this before. You cannot get distracted by seeing price cuts online, right? If a property was grossly overpriced, of course you're going to see price cuts. And there's definitely sellers who are still very bullish, thinking that they can get 5 or 10% over the market value. That's not happening anymore. Buyers have pulled back. They're being much more cautious, but they'll still pay market value if it's priced properly. And that's what we're going to see. I think that's what will sustain prices, is the low inventory and still there's strong buyer demand. Will sustain the prices going forward. So I don't think there's going to be if there's going to be a drop, it'll be like in the low single digits. And we won't see that until next year after all the data shakes out. So not concerned about like a 10, 15, 20% price reduction at all.
Okay, so Norm, that's how's that for a detailed answer? Thank you, Dylan. That's excellent. And I'd be curious also when we get to you, Heidi, and you, Ashley. I'd like to have some comment on what you think about prices going on. And just your guess. We're just gonna throw stuff off here. All right. So
my one addition to that though is I do think that like the above $2 million market is gonna have. That's going to be affected more than the regular housing market. Like we're seeing that right now. The amount of activity in the 2.5 million plus market, the luxury market, is much slower because those folks are more impacted by interest rates, more impacted by the recession in the economy. Their money's tied up in the stock market, which is down. And so I think if you're in that market, maybe you could shop for a deal. But if you're in the sub $1.5 million range, still tons of activity, very strong buyer demand.
Excellent. And before we move on to Heidi, I did want to show this great photo because it was so darn cool. Dylan, you and your son, when you first went out there, that is like, talk about the killer, talk about the money shot. Like you're just never going to, that's it. You're never going to have that photo ever again. I mean, that's it. That was that moment and you captured it. So good on you. You want to tell a quick story around this photo? Because it's just a beautiful photo.
Oh, about the setup of it, or
just whatever you want, just anything you want to share. Anything you want to share about that.
Here's a pro tip, right, for taking pictures in the dark. Is I have two of my friends with us that came in from San Diego. So one is taking the picture, the other one is holding the flashlight on the cell phone on from a lower angle to light us up, and that's why the picture looks really good, right? Because normally you take a picture like that, the back is going to not look good, or you're going to be too dark, right? Depending on what you focus on. But with these new cell phone cameras, you can do some really tricky stuff. But that's the trick on this is how you get a really nice picture at night.
Yeah, it really shows. So it looks like the light source is coming from the lower right as we're looking at the shot, right? Because the other side of your head is kind of a little bit shaded. The other side of both your face are a little bit shaded. So great shot, right? And she who laughs agrees. What a photo, lovely. Yeah, it certainly is. All right, sorry, gang. I hope we're not boring you with all this talk. I like to keep things lively. Heidi, give us the update. What's going on Maui? Give us the Maui market update. If you heard about this water shortage, whatever else you'd like to comment on, what's your estimate on prices going up or down in Maui? Go, Heidi.
Sure. Well, after seeing all this footage, I kind of want to go to the Big Island and look at the volcano. And I do have a lot of friends headed over there to see it. It's pretty cool. As far as a real estate update on Maui, I mean, some really similar trends to what Dylan mentioned compared to 2021, which was a totally unprecedented year for real estate. Number of closed sales is way down. I mean, about 40% less homes are selling, about 40% less condos are selling, and inventory is increasing, but it's not really because there's a ton more listings coming on the market. It's really just the pace of the sales is slowing and kind of going back down to a level that we saw pre-COVID. The most recent statistics on Maui show that price growth is kind of stabilizing, slowing a little bit. Single family homes prices were up 2.5% in November, median price being $1,025,000 for a single family home. Condos prices were up 18.1%, to 856 250 for the median price of a condo on Maui, November 2022. Um, Days on market is increasing as well. Um, Average day on market to sell a condo from listing to the actual closing is about 100 days. For single family homes, it's about 154 days right now. So I mean, I guess the good news is for buyers, I mean, who have maybe been watching for a couple years, right now is, buyers do have a little bit more leverage, a little bit more negotiating room. We're seeing sales prices being negotiated down another 2% compared to last year. And just, the market conditions are changing, but it's still a pretty robust market. I mean, things are still selling. It's just it's at a slower pace. It's not the bananas market we saw um, in 2021. And I'll just comment on the first of all, I still think Maui is no ko'oi. Maui is the best. Um, so many areas in the world have challenges with climate change and things happening. And I mean, being on an island, it's so important to protect our environment here. And that is one of the reasons why um, there's not a lot of development. There are lots of rules about which properties can be rented as vacation rentals. There's moratoriums on building hotels and new vacation rentals because I mean, we're a small island. We need to protect our environment and be sustainable. Um, as far as gas prices, unless you live on one side of the island and every single day drive to the other side of the island for work, most people are going to spend way more on gas than on the mainland. I basically drive around in the same few mile radius most of the time, and occasionally I'll drive 15 or 17 miles to Home Depot or something. So the price of gas is not a huge issue if you're driving way less.
Yeah, yes, I think you slipped. You said people drive way more. What you meant to say is people drive way less in Hawaii, right? Typically, people
Right.
drive, right,
Yeah.
right,
Sorry about
way
that.
less. No.
Right here.
Uh, yeah, no, excellent. Yeah. Um, Heidi, what's your Norm's got a couple. So Norm's got another question. Great question, Norm. So tack this on, Ashley, onto your list as well. Is some of this drop in volume seasonal? Heidi, first, what's your prediction as far as Norm saying? Do you anticipate prices going down over the next few months? So what's your anticipation of the next few months price wise? And is some of this drop that we're seeing? Do you see this as seasonal?
We don't really have a strong seasonal market on Maui. I mean, it could be a little bit, but I've studied the statistics on a lot of different neighborhoods. I mean, off across different time periods, and we just really don't have a strong seasonal market. Now, our busiest time of year as far as the number of visitors on Maui is the winter, early spring. So a lot of people do anticipate things could pick up a little bit, maybe compared to these last couple months, just because we have more buyers on market. But as far as closed sales happening, I mean, we're not a market where everybody lists in the spring, sells in the summer, that kind of thing. I mean, sales are really happening all year. As far as prices going down, um, overall, I would say no. Um, Anytime you're making an offer on a property, I mean, there's so many factors to look at. So, I mean, in some cases, prices have gone down in some cases, but um, you kind of have to look at the like really specific neighborhood market, micro market. Um, Everything really started shifting in the spring with interest rates rising, and there was an adjustment period. But I would say overall, I mean, no, you can't expect big price drops anytime soon, and I don't see that on Maui, at least not right now.
Excellent. Excellent. Thank you, Heidi. That is a great update. Ashley, go ahead and unmute yourself and fill us in. Give us your Oahu update. And I'll remind you a few of those questions that like Norm had, et cetera. Prices going down, prices going down, estimate on volume drop. But fill us in. What do you want to share about Oahu? You're still muted.
I didn't mute on
Here.
this. Sorry about that.
That's okay. I unmuted you. Go for it.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, Oahu got hit a little bit harder, I think, than some of the other islands. So we did see a massive drop in sales for single family homes. And I think we need to understand that when you're talking about the statistics, there's a big difference between single family statistics and the condo market. And so I'm going to have to ping back and forth between them. Also on Oahu, it depends on what side of the mountain you're on, because they're drastically different on their stats as well. But let's just break it down. Single family, we only had 192 closed sales last month, and that is nearly a 50% drop from the previous year. Granted, it was, an anomaly last year, but that's still really low historically speaking. Even back in 2018 for the single families, we still saw 429 sales in November. So to answer one of the questions is this a seasonal thing? Yes, we typically see during the holidays in the winter season, sales go down a bit just because people are focused and they're traveling, but not this much of a drop. However, 340 closed sales for condos, that's not a huge drop. It is less, 43% from the previous year. But if you look in 2018, 2019, there was 320. 2018, there's 288. So if we're going at the whole picture, condos are sort of on par, in my opinion. The single family median price is still up 9.5% at 1.149 million. That's from last year. But again, last year was an anomaly, right? So if we go back historically, I think the median sales prices are still so strong because the 2 million price point and above is still, they've doubled in sales last month. Meanwhile, the 700,000 to the 1.1 to the 1.9 has gone down significantly, about 46%. I've got to look up the exact percentage. So I think that 2 million plus is really carrying that median sales price forward. The condo median sales price is down slightly at 480,000. Again, historically speaking, that's not terrible. If you go back, and I like to skip over 2021 because it was such an anomaly. So I personally, when I'm running over values for my investors, because I deal with a lot of people who like to fix and flip homes, I like to look at the 2020 and before market. And the median sales price in 2020 was 420,000. So I'd say condo market is depreciating. I personally feel like, again, working from an investment standpoint or someone who just needs a plan B and C, because I firmly believe when you buy a home, you should have multiple exit strategies, right? And with condos, it's a little bit more challenging, not impossible, to create forced equity in your home. You can upgrade the interior only. Versus single family homes, you can add curb appeal, you can do exterior finishes, but condos and townhomes, they're amazing entry-level opportunities. And some people don't want the exterior maintenance. So I feel like they have their pros and cons, but that's my opinion as to why the single family sector here on Oahu is a bit stronger on the resale and holding values than the condo market. Overall, we did see almost double the amount of active inventory on our single family homes for Oahu on the center of the island east and on the, center of Oahu west. So double the amount of inventory and nearly half the amount of sales. So naturally, yeah, there is some room for negotiation, I think, on price, but we didn't see this massive decline. It's not like the prices plummeted and everyone's in a panic. No, there's some, 5-10% swings. I'd say on our listings right now that have been sitting even for 60 plus days, we still got around asking price with some small credits to subsidize interest rate hikes. The east side of Oahu, that has stabilized. It has fluctuated as much as center to leeward. And then interest rates, I think that really helped a lot. The interest rates softened and they definitely gave buyers, I feel like, a little bit more hope over the last week or two, and they're like, okay, this is the new norm. And they started feeling a little bit more comfortable coming back into the market. And now I don't know what Heidi and Dylan are seeing, but in this last week or two, I mean, we just see so much interest. We're getting busier than ever before. We have a bunch of new listings coming up. We have multiple offers coming in our properties again. So it'll be interesting to see what December's statistics look like. I think no matter what, they'll be a little softened just because of the holidays. But I think January is going to bounce. It's gonna, if you're looking for a screaming deal here on Oahu, I think honestly right now is the time to buy, because you have room to negotiate and you still get to leverage the whole interest rate conversation, and you can get your discount, small price drop, and you can get your credits. And I don't know, I'm using my crystal ball here and it's not always accurate, but I think come first quarter next year, we're not going to see the same amount of opportunities. I think there'll be a division on the distressed sale market. I think distressed sales will occur, but that's going to be a completely different market. It's going to be more auctions. It's going to be more cash buyers, not so much someone who's just going to be coming in with a traditional, conventional conforming loan.
Excellent overview, Ashley. Thanks. You know what? As you were bringing this up, and you mentioned Dylan and Heidi, I had gotten some feedback. By the way, everyone's folks, your feedback is what made this show what it is. If you like the show, it's because you did it. Really, I try to take, as almost all the ideas for the show has come from you one way or another. Another idea that I caught from Jackie, who is an alumni, is she said, she really liked that one time, actually, when you were asking Dylan a bunch of questions about one of the properties that he was featuring. And I thought, you know what? Why don't we allow the experts to kind of ask each other some questions? So like right now, from everything that the three of you have said, do you three have any questions for the other? Like, you got like, let's just have do we have a quick lightning round? Like right now, Dylan, Heidi, Ashley, do you folks have any questions for each other right now? That, because we'd love to hear. It's like a fly on the wall conversation. What do you guys want to know from the other ones?
Here's just a quick perspective thing to think about, right? So Ashley, how many single family home sales were there? Did you say? It was like
single families was 192 closed. That's historically low.
What's crazy, on the Big Island, there was 171, right? And we have like 1/5 the amount of people. So putting that into perspective, right? That
wow,
there's literally like 1 million more people on Oahu than there is on the Big Island, but we're talking about almost the same exact number of closed single family home sales. So competition there is still probably a lot worse than it is here, even at that rate, right?
Yeah, the competition is still pretty fierce, but I think everyone just paused for a month. I think people were just like, oh my God, the prices on Oahu went so crazy. They went so nuts that I think people just paused. And now they're coming back in. So even though the sales were historically low, there wasn't multiple offers on stuff, which is surprising if you put it in perspective.
And the other thing we got to add into this is the lag in the real estate market, right? Is the closed sales in November were a result of sales going under contract in September and October. And so that's when that's when the shock of the interest rates going up was like in full swing. So we're seeing the results of that initial shock of the interest rates going up from September and October in the closed sales in November. But now, like Ashley said, things are normalizing. Rates have come down like a point almost. People are going to get over it, and they're going to move on and continue to buy. So this might be the bottom, right? November might have been the bottom. Even December, maybe we might see something similar, but we might be at the bottom.
I agree. And I think people need to jump on if they want to get into something and they want to negotiate. To your point, I think December's numbers will look somewhat parallel to November's, because that's a great point. It's lagged, it's tailed. And then just further solidifying the first quarter of next year will look a lot better.
How many closed sales are there on Maui, Heidi? Do you know offhand?
So yeah, actually that was my question. So when you're saying number of closed sales, is that just for November?
Yes.
Okay, so on Maui there were 63 single family homes sold.
That's it?
Wow. Condos. Yeah, that's it.
Wow.
How many the year before and how many in 2020?
I don't have those statistics at my fingertips, but I know last year it was about double that.
So you guys also went down about 50%. And Dylan, what percent did you guys go down?
Last year there was 230, so it wasn't that. I mean, it was a drop in 60. So it wasn't huge. I mean, we're talking, what is that, a 30% drop? Did a quick
30%,
math in my head. Yeah, so it went from 230 to 171 compared
This
to
is
last.
fascinating. Do you think that Big Island sales went up? Because on Oahu, our sales went up, 30+%, and a lot of our neighborhoods and markets. Did you see that on Big Island? Because you guys are so
Oh yeah,
popping
yeah.
over there.
If you look at 21, I think it's a good. I'm gonna take that away about ignoring 21, because you're right.
Yeah.
21, we had like 7,500 sales on the island in 21. Normally it's like 5,000. So we had like literally 50% increase in 21 from normal times in the overall number of sales. And so it was a super, super outlier. So comparing 21 data to this year is definitely going to give you a skewed perspective.
And what was the increase, the median price of sale of homes in 2020, 2021?
Oh, it was like 25% increase. It was huge.
Yeah. So that's interesting. Big Island is crushing it. You guys must be doing something. They're coming to see you, Dylan.
Hey, look, and
hang
so
out with you.
hey, Norm, that's what Norm's saying. Norm just said it. Tony and I are going to be adding those first quarter numbers. Tony and Norm is working with Dylan's team. He's going to be adding to that. That's a great point. Hey, look, gang, I hope you all got as much of a rise as I did from hearing these three kind of going at it, because it was like fly on the wall, hearing these sort of experts kind of ask each other questions, kind of juggling their numbers. So what's the takeaway? As the layperson here, my takeaway is that there may indeed be an opportunity here, right? Because we may have, there's been the sort of shock of the interest rates. Everybody, Dylan's, the word was the shock. Ashley's point was that people just kind of put the brakes on. They're just kind of waiting. And this pause could give you a place, like Ashley had said, to negotiate a better price. You're in a good position to kind of, yes, Ashley, you raise your hand.
I just am so excited. I didn't mean to interrupt, but to your point of fly on the wall, Dylan, when you held that event over the weekend, and I was listening there was a speaker, and she was going over some of the disclosures and things to consider on Big Island, and it's lava zone 1, 2, and 3. 2 and 3 are not insurable. Then you guys have your precipitation or your rainfall consideration on people buy. And I was like, is that a disclosure? We don't have that on Oahu. And I thought that was really fascinating. And I was curious, and I wanted to ask Heidi, is there anything unique to Maui? Because I think Big Island is just, you guys have all but 2 of the world climates right on one island. So I think that's why there's so many unusual disclosures or factors to your land tenure, or not tenure, but your land. But Heidi, is there anything like that on a Maui?
Oh, I mean, that's one of the things I love about real estate, because there's always interesting things to learn. I sell a lot of oceanfront properties. So one of the things that I deal with in sellers disclosures is the sea level rise disclosure, which is something with state of Hawaii. And it's also understanding, when you're buying an oceanfront property, if that property was damaged, like say there was a big storm, would you be able to get permits to rebuild it? If you have a seawall, are you going to be able to get permits to fix it? That's kind of a big just issue and consideration for people that are looking to be, right on the ocean, right on the beach on Maui.
Excellent. Love this. And this is great conversation. It is like totally awesome. And I thank you, Jackie, for suggesting that we kind of encourage some kind of intramural sports over here. I think it's really great. Hey, Jason's so we have a couple of questions that I want to catch up, and then we're going to zoom into our diamonds and deals. First of all, the last one here, Jason, is there much of a difference in the monthly payment with prices high and low interest rates than prices low and higher interest rates? I feel was better before the rates went up. That's my guess, but you get what Jason's kind of saying over here. Dylan, you want to hit this one quick? Is it better? Has the interest rate increase offset any price drops?
I can, I wish I had this slide ready, but there's a good graphic that shows a math breakdown of, okay, if you were going to buy a $500,000 house and had to pay 10% over to win the bid, right, and pay $550 versus right now, where if the list price is $500, maybe you can get it for $9 or $495 or something, right, instead of paying over. And if you compare the overall monthly payment and long-term cost to paying, a percent and a half or 2% more than what interest rates were, you actually come out better off. You're better off paying a higher interest rate at a reasonable purchase price than you are paying over asking price. And so it all kind of evens out. That's what the market does, right? That's what higher interest rates do, is they suppress the growth in price, which is an advantage to buyers. And so I think in the long run, if you're ready to buy, you just got to do it now and don't worry about that stuff. I mean, you can dig into the data and kind of figure out how it affects you, but definitely the price of your mortgage is going to go up, right? I mean, if potentially $300, $400, $500 a month, the difference could be on the same amount of money, but would you have spent the same amount of money 6-8 months ago if you had to bid over the listing price, right? You might have to pay more. So you got to put it all into context.
Interesting. Yeah. And, what was the line, Heidi, that you gave a while ago? Was a great line about the best time to buy is when you there was something you said about the best. My symbol was best time to buy is right now, but you had a more nuanced version, Heidi. You said the best time to buy is. Remember that?
I'm not sure, but I'll share
Okay.
this is one of my favorite real estate quotes. Don't wait to buy real estate and wait.
Love it. Don't wait to buy real estate. Actually, this is not school. You don't have to raise your hand. Just jump right in. We're having a conversation. But Jason appreciates. Yeah, Jason appreciates that. Go ahead, Ashley.
I'll be specific. So 500,000 at a 3.5% interest rate, if that's the loan amount, is approximately $2,245. That's just your principal and interest. It's not tax or anything. If at 5.5%, 500,000 would be about $2,800, $2,838. So the difference per month is about, I would say $500 per month difference. And to Dylan's point, if you had to come in on Oahu, often $20,000 above asking price in order to secure that property, more often like $50,000 to $100,000 above asking price, above appraised value. So we're just being conservative, saying a lot of our clients are paying maybe $20,000 above the appraised value and asking price to get that property. That would take you 33 months to recoup that $20,000 before you start breaking even. But I think regardless that might be a $500 difference of payment per month. However, I think people are anticipating and using that and thinking we're going to get back to 3.5% interest rates. And I just don't think that that's going to occur. I think 5%, 6%, those are still historically low interest rates. And, I have an agent on my team and he bought his home a while back. He's a slightly older gentleman. He's paying 17% interest rate, 13% interest rate. So it was cheaper, but people did have to give up their second unborn child to get the house. And you're looking at the new norm, I think.
Excellent. Great conversation. Here we had a comment from Kanaka Maoli, who's loving this segment. Aloha's everybody. Kanaka Maoli is going through her, is a new realtor actually on Oahu, going through her, your exam, if I'm not mistaken. And I think you mentioned that you closed your first property at the last show, if I'm not mistaken. Very impressive point. Interesting point. Now I'm glad I closed today with the higher rates and a bit under asking. So good on you. Excellent. Hey, you know what? We need to get back to Paul's question. And I don't know, and maybe you folks know what this means. Does the worst house on the block strategy actually work? I think that means like, does the worst house affect the price of the others? I believe. Does it work better for certain types of houses or neighborhoods? Why don't we, Heidi, do you know, can you speak to what Paul's saying? What's this worst house on the block, or do we need to have more clarification?
Well, I mean, I can guess what he means, and then I guess Paul let us know if this is what you're thinking.
Go for it.
So worst house on the block, that means buying kind of a lowest price, maybe worst house in a nice neighborhood to get the most equity and the best value. That's kind of how I'm interpreting that. I think the first question I would have is, why is this house the worst house on the block? Is it because it needs a total remodel, or it's dated, or is there something about this house that is permanent and it is a challenge that's probably going to be a challenge in the future long term? So those would kind of be some questions to ask. There are always opportunities. on Maui for people that are willing to update and improve properties, because not everybody's willing to do that. One of the things to keep in mind is the cost of remodeling on Maui is much higher than most people are used to on the mainland, because everything's shipped in, labor is higher. It tends to always take longer than people anticipate, but it can be a really great way to add value to a property. And it just depends on your time frame and how long you're going to hold on to it. But I don't know. Does that help? Does that answer your
Yeah,
question?
no, I think it does. I think you're right about the last house. Ashley, you work. You mentioned you work with fix and flips investors. How do you respond to if it was let's say hypothetically there was an investor and said, hey, should we do this worst house on the block strategy? How would you respond to that?
The uglier, the better. I love the strategy. Honestly, it's all about location, 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 because you can make interior finishes. You can do whatever you want to a house. You can do it over 5 years. You can do it, with a quick loan, but location's most important. And I think the strategy is just don't buy the best looking house on the block, because then you've just peaked out. You've set the standards. You set the comps for that area. If you get the ugliest house or the worst house or the smallest house, you can do the improvements and you can force equity. Because again, you want to have exit strategies, multiple exit strategies. And if you get something that needs some elbow grease, if you need something that needs a little work, now you have opportunity to say you bought it at $380,000 because it needed work. It's now worth $550,000 because somebody couldn't maybe get the best interest rate or the best loan. There's a fewer buyers, a smaller buyer pool for it. But it's not low enough for your cash fix and flip buyers. Great. Now, if for any reason you need to do a cash out refinance, you can refinance it into the higher, whatever the property would appraise at. You can actually keep the money. You can recoup it for whatever you put into the home, or maybe you can use that money, invest it into something else. Or you just have the lower mortgage amount. And now you've had a home that increased significantly in value. So when times need to sell or the market goes down, you're in a better position. But not everyone, that's not their cup of tea. Some people might want just cute and turnkey.
That's right. Everyone's got different needs. Dylan, is there anything you want to add to this?
The main thing is you don't run into a seller who thinks that their worst house in the neighborhood should get the same price as all of the good houses in the neighborhood. And a lot of times that's a difficulty we run into. So
that's the opposite side of it, right?
Yes. You want to buy the worst house in the neighborhood at a reasonable price. That's the important thing.
There you go. Well, Paul agreed. Correct, Heidi. Worst sometimes means smallest, so you buy into the neighborhood's overall appreciation for the lowest price per square foot. Paul, sounds like you need to join the team here and maybe work with Ashley or Heidi or Dylan and get yourself into some properties. All right, gang. Look, this has been great discussions. I love it. Let's see. There was a couple. There was somebody was appreciative of the segment. I think I posted. I think I've posted everyone's. Look, gang, if I missed you, please pop it again. I think I got everyone's stuff. Let's get into us and deals. We are running a little bit over schedule here, but that's all right. Let's get these done over here. Heidi, Honoapi'ilani Road. Give us the update. What is this? Wow.
So this is a brand new listing. It actually just went on MLS 30 minutes ago while we were doing this show. It's direct oceanfront on Keonanui Bay. It's currently being used as a vacation rental. It rents from anywhere from $550 to $750 a night. It's being sold furnished and turnkey, and 1.6, 2-bedroom, 2.5 bath.
Wow, that I would have to do the math on the numbers, but what an incredible property to own. Look at that view, that sunrise or sunset view in the upper right hand corner. That is amazing.
Yeah, the views are amazing. You're looking west between the outer islands of Molokai and Lanai, so you're going to see sunsets year round. And the picture on the bottom, you see that's the primary suite, the bedroom. There's a huge ocean view from the bedroom and from the living room. 2 big lanais, and then you kind of walk down those stairs at the end of the grass and you can go down to a little beach and swim and snorkel with turtles, down there.
Oh my
So
God. And
really
this grassy view on the bottom, this is the property itself. So this is your property on the water like this.
yeah, so the units,
Wow.
it's townhome style. So that picture at the top, that's your table on your lanai, and you walk out on the grass and walk down to the beach. And then
Holy
the
moly.
picture on the bottom right-hand corner, that's the upstairs bedroom with the ocean view up there.
That is crazy, man. I'm sure we're gonna have some questions about. Let's get through it, and then we'll kind of have a little bit of a dialogue if we have any time over here. All right, Ashley, Kaneohe Bay Drive. What do we got here?
So everything I have just went under contract this week. So I'm pulling from my girl Shireen because we have a few coming up next week. But I wanted to highlight, and I couldn't choose between this one that's a vacation or could be vacation rentable on the North Shore at Turtle Bay, because I think that's a total diamond. But I'm keeping it within our brokerage with EXP. This is a home in Kaneohe Bay, and it's 2.125 million. It's definitely priced really aggressive. You have access to the bay here, which is that middle photo, and you can go fishing. You can go down to the sandbar from here. And then every single aspect of the home is meticulously designed. It's so beachy. It's so cute. And then there's an ohana. So the area behind the grill, that's the garage. And above it is a 1-bedroom ohana suite. So you've got the 3-bedroom, 3 bathrooms total. And then you've also got another room that's like an office.
So so explain to folks what a ohana suite is.
It's an additional living space that is on site, on property, either connected or detached. And in this case, it's just above the garage. So if you have family coming to visit, or if you wanted to rent it out long term, you have options.
It's amazing. Hey, so gang, look, if you want the special diamond that Ashley's not sharing, you're going to need to get that one directly. There's a link on the form. Click on that. That'll bring you up an email about real estate. Click that. I'll get that. I'll forward it to Ashley, and she could maybe share with you that diamond property that she's keeping secret for good reason. But this is really cool. This is really amazing. I mean, Kaneohe Bay, gang, is like, if you've ever seen these incredible picturesque properties that's showing a sandbar with mountains in the background, this is the place where those pictures come from. It's absolutely stunning and a beautiful spot. All right, Dylan, man, you guys got like a great variety of properties here. Dylan, what do we got over here? Kona View Estates.
Yeah, this is just a massive house, right? 5,100 square feet. So you don't see this too often, but this is just a beautifully, pretty newly built 2017, very modern. And you just got this stupid view. I mean, it's like this 200-degree view from the pool, and the living room flows right out into it. You have a huge covered lanai, which you can see in the upper right there. Just beautiful finishings, open concept kitchen, 3 master suites basically. So every single bedroom has a bathroom attached to it, and an additional media room, additional office. I mean, just like tons and tons of space. So if you need something big, large family, this is on a full acre of land in Kona View Estates, because obviously you can see the view, but this is real centrally located in Kona, just right above Costco. So that's some of the most important selling point, right? You're like maybe 7 minutes away from Costco, door to door, and then with parking, and then maybe 10 minutes away from the airport and stuff. So super, super nice area.
I could just hang glide off of this property and land into the Costco parking lot down below, probably.
And good elevation, like 1,000-foot elevation, so you're not going to need air conditioning ever. It's cool, trade winds. I mean, beautiful property.
Beautiful property. 1,000 feet, and you don't have to worry about tsunamis or kind of those kinds of natural disasters.
No sea level rise issues. Yeah, no sea level rise issues.
Excellent. Yeah, no sea level rise. Yeah, certainly not. At least not for at least several million years, at least at the very, very least. Hey, you know what? We're almost out of time. So normally I would kind of I'd like to have some dialogue between you guys on this, but we already kind of had the dialogue later. But this is the kind of thing where we bring up properties if you guys have questions, because I know that others found them very, very valuable. We are almost out of time. So why don't we do this? Let's get to our closing thoughts. And hey, look, if you've got some closing thoughts, make sure, I'd love to see your comment. If you got a closing motivational thought you want to share with us, please pop it in the comments. We'd love to hear from it. We are going to be here. I talked to the team. I talked to Heidi and Dylan and to Ashley. They all said, yeah, let's do the next show on the 23rd. So this is going to be a Christmas special show. But with that, let's get rolling. Dylan, what's your quote, and why is it important to you?
I like simple stuff, right? The main thing is to keep the main thing the main thing. And just always reminds me to make sure that you're focused on your priorities, right? Because we get lots of distractions. You can be distracted by the volcano and distracted by the economy, but you just got to keep your goals. And that's what we did last week here in Kona was, goal setting, vision boarding workshop, where we just focused on what are you getting real clear about what your goals and your intentions are, and focus on those things. And don't get distracted by all the noise.
Focus on the goals and do not get distracted. Well said. The main thing is the main thing. Heidi, what's your quote and what does it mean to you?
Don't downgrade your expectations, upgrade your mindset. What this means to me is just to be conscious of my thoughts and make sure that I'm not putting limitations on myself by beliefs in my head. And it's just about being open to possibilities. And if there's something that you really want, I mean, be inspired, find a way to make it happen. Don't keep telling yourself that it's not possible.
Excellent. Auntie Joan is chiming in. Refuse to sit still for negative thinking. Indeed, refuse to sit still for negative thinking. And Auntie Joan, you are a model of that. May I say? We've met personally many times. You are a model of that. Ashley, what's your quote and what does it mean to you?
Dylan at that event had this up on his presentation about goal setting and such. And I just love it. And I've used it maybe 16 times since. Done is better than perfect, because I'm one of those that are like, yeah, I can't get this gift to someone because I just got to include this or that, or I can't do the email news blast because I need to include this. And I just need this mantra either tattooed on my forearm or just up around my house. Done is better than perfect. Get it done, because done is better than someone who is waiting for it to be perfect and never gets it done. And that was me. Excellent.
Ashley, I'm going to chime in with that. Chime in on that with you. There's a great related saying that I had by Guy Kawasaki. He was he's from the tech industry. He was the guy that launched the Apple Macintosh, and his line that fits in this was, "Don't worry, be crappy." Which is, if you've got something that's it, don't worry, be crappy. If it's, if you got it going, it's great. Hey, Bill Lancaster asked a question. Recently found your broadcast interested in viewing your prior sessions. If this is possible, yeah, it sure is. In fact, Bill, I just popped a link on the chat. It's the Hawaii Real Estate Channel. You can see every show that we've done for the past X number of years. So you go for that and enjoy. Mark says, great show, guys. Thanks for distracting me. Yeah, hey, you're welcome, buddy. You're welcome. You're welcome. You are welcome. Auntie Joyce says, don't worry. Worry is a waste of time. Indeed. Again, don't worry. That was a great song, right? Don't worry, be happy. All right, I'm going to close it up with my favorite, and of course, it's going to be a proverb. And in similar to what Dylan kind of says, Proverbs 14:23. In all toil there is profit, but mere talk leads only to poverty. Yeah, so don't talk about it. Do it. Do it. All right. What's the main thing is the main thing. Stop talking about it. Don't tell me how great it's going to be. Go ahead and do it. Make it great. All right, gang. I think that's it. Great show again, as usual. Fantastic show, if I might add. Why don't we say goodbye? Let's do it counterclockwise. Ashley first, then Dylan, and then Heidi. Say goodbye.
Aloha. Have a blessed day.
Aloha, everybody. Have a great weekend.
Aloha. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday, everyone. Have a great one. We'll catch you in 2 weeks. Aloha.